Now, Season 3 ladder start is right around the corner. Oh no, you haven't decided what character to use yet? Fear not, because today I'm bringing you my list of my favorite ladder starting builds. First of all, before we jump into this, I want to let everybody know what this list is not. This is not necessarily the most godly endgame builds in all of Diablo 2 Resurrected. This is also not a full list of all the ladder start characters that work really good. Some of this is actually an opinion. Another thing important to note, these skills aren't necessarily going to be the ones that you use through normal or even in Nightmare. Sometimes there's better skills early on, or early on in like normal, you won't even have access to these skills yet. And of course, as always, hit your favorite ladder start builds that maybe I skipped over here down in the comments. First up, we're jumping into the one that I'm actually starting Season 3 ladder with, and that is going to be the Nova Sorceress. The reason this one is so good is because Nova does not have that many synergies. All you have is static field, and then you pump points into lightning mastery, and that's it. A total of 60 points, and you can completely max out the damage on Nova. With the extra points on that, a lot of times, including myself, I would recommend this. Go into Energy Shield. It makes your build almost impossible to die if you have the right gear. This build also varying from a lot of other builds in the game, you don't go max vitality. Going down the path of the actual lore of a sorceress, you actually pump all your points into energy. So with those points into the Nova and its synergies, you got your Energy Shield, and obviously your 1-point wonders, your warmth, your teleport, telekinesis, things like that. This character is ready to go. This works great even with budget gear, but once you even get some of the basics, once you get your Mage Fists, once you get your Viper Magi, maybe a Shaco, this character really rocks. And actually on the glove side, the actual best in slot is an item you can find in normal, Frostburn, because they actually have 40% to your mana. Next up for one of my favorite ladder starters, and I'm going with the Javasan. This isn't a jack of all trades, this is actually good at one specific thing, and it's so crazy at it, I had to put her on here. The Lightning Fury Javasan is bar none the absolute best cow farmer. You can take this build out in cows absolutely naked at like level 60 and just lay waste to all that beef. Now what can you actually get out in cows with this build? Cows is specifically known for getting a ton of rune word bases, which are incredibly high demand at the beginning of ladder. On top of that, cows are a great place to find high runes due to the massive density out there, and they actually, each individual cow has a higher rune drop rate than a regular monster. Now this build absolutely shines early on, but once you get a bunch of the godly endgame gear, this character is not to be messed with. It really does end up being one of the most powerful builds in the entire game. Now the next ladder starter here I'm going with is actually one that just got a huge nerf. What? What do you mean, Phil? Well, actually, in the new patch 2.6, the Blizzard Sorceress got a nerf the way its Cold Mastery works while having a Sunder Charm. But that doesn't do anything for affecting how good of a ladder starter it really is. This is really one of the most versatile characters, and that's why it's used so often at the beginning of ladder. It's great for taking out Mephisto. You can take out cows easy peasy. Moat tricking Mephisto, no problem. You could go after Pindle. It really is great at a ton of areas. Or you can go out and even hit some of the 85 areas, ancient tunnels, and stony tombs. On top of the absolutely amazing damage from Blizzard, you also have the teleport skill, obviously, so it's real easy to get anywhere you want to go. Obviously, being a great ladder start character, even with budget gear, it does absolutely amazing, and getting that godly endgame gear will step up your kill speed a ton. We're coming in with another absolute classic here, and that is the Hammerden. This one's been used at the start of ladder since the beginning of time, and you'll know why if you ever used one. Once again, like a lot of the builds on here, obviously, with just even budget gear, the hammers do a crazy amount of damage. Unlike a lot of the other ones though, you don't even necessarily need a Sunder Charm to break immunities in order to really be able to clear everything in the game. These hammers are actually magic damage, and there are almost no magic immunities in the entire game, with the exception of just a few. This build is specifically known for doing great in the Chaos Sanctuary, but really, it works great almost anywhere. After you end up stepping up to that godly endgame gear, a lot of people would agree this is the most powerful, most versatile, most overpowered build in the entire game as well. We're coming at you with another Paladin next, and it's kind of a new kid on the block here for Diablo 2 Resurrected anyways, and that's the Fist of Heaven's Paladin. It got the bump up at the same time that they decided to redo the Nova skill, making that one now very, very good, Fist of Heavens came right up with it. It actually has some advantages over hammers because you can cast the Fist of Heavens on monsters all the way across the screen, just sniping them right out from in the middle of a pack. And just like everyone on the list here, it's very, very good even with budget gear. The good thing with Fist of Heavens is it actually takes less points into the synergies, leaving you with a little bit extra left over so you can actually go ahead and duel or even like try spec it. Maybe you want to go Fist of Heavens and do a little bit extra damage, maybe get out Ubered with it as well, putting points into Smite and things that help that out. There's even different specs of it where you can have Fist of Heavens and then put some points into hammers, put some points into Zeal. There's a lot of different ways you can go with it because you have a lot of extra points left over. These other skills dual spec, and it really does add to the versatility of this build because the Holy Bolt and the Fist of Heavens by itself only does that damage to undead and demons. Sliding in next right here is an absolute classic type of character. Every single type of game ever made has one of these in there, and we're going with the Barbarian. Unlike the other ones, I'm not actually going to specify a build here. There's a lot of personal preference based upon what you really want to do. I've seen people starting off with all different types, ranging from the Singer Barbarian, Berserker Barb, Frenzy, Whirlwind. They all seem to be their own type of good. It just depends on what you really feel like doing. But the specific spot that these are always the best at for each one of these builds right off the bat is running Trav. Travinkle is known for jewelry and really a great spot to find high runes. Now I gotta put my bias aside. Generally, I haven't found a lot of high runes in the past, but I know that this is actually a good place to farm them. The reason this Barbarian is such a good ladder starter is because of the find item skill. Even if you're on players 1 difficulty, that doesn't affect the drops you get from the actual find item. What you'll get from the find item is based solely upon your find item, your find potion, the synergy, and how much magic find you have. There is another option for this build too. You could even not even go out and kill any monsters. Well, how are you gonna find anything? You can actually just kind of follow people around and use the find item skill on all the monsters that they've killed. So you're getting free opportunities with no effort of your own in order to find good items. Now I hope you all stuck around here for the final one because this is one of my absolute favorite and one that I've never used until more recently here, and that is the Summon Necromancer. This build early on perhaps isn't quite as fast as things like the Sorceress because you can't teleport around like that, but it is so basic and easy. That's why I love it so much. Once you get up all those summons, you get a half decent mercenary. 1 body drops, you use Corpse Explosion, and you can melt an entire room. And this is even with budget gear. You don't even necessarily need the crazy endgame stuff. You can march right into a Chaos Sanctuary, completely naked Necromancer, and take the whole joint out yourself. But what is also great about this, once you get the most godly endgame gear, some people might not believe it or might not even realize it, you can literally clear mobs as fast as any character in the game with a sick, amazing Summon Necromancer. One little thing I will note right at the end here though, the Summon Necro, it benefits a ton from being able to have teleport, so getting a tele staff on this character just to reposition your summons and your mercenary is very key. So let me know down in the comments which one of these you're going to use, or if there's another one that you're going to end up using at the ladder start. Peace out fellas, and keep slaying.